Hey guys, it's Sophie the Shadow Hunter, and today I'm doing my February TBR. I was not expecting to be filming a TBR or even a wrap up for January, but here I am because I can't start school yet. So the good news is I get to read more and film more videos for you guys. So I'd love to know the books you're planning on reading in February and the rest of the year and your plans. I've been trying to get my TBR down, and it is down, but I really would have been great if I could have read 100 books last year. Maybe I can try to read 100 books this year. That's not my goal. My goal is 90, I believe, at the moment. So if I get that really fast, then maybe I will go ahead and add a couple more books on, because I was only a couple books, like 2 books behind schedule for the end of last year, which was great. I so totally could have read 100 books, but you know, stuff happens and you can't read as fast if you don't feel like reading. So let's get started. So the first book I'm going to be reading for the month of February, which I already started. I started reading it yesterday, and I was going to try to finish it to put it in my wrap up for January, but I just didn't get enough ready yesterday, and that's Witness to Nuremberg by Richard W. Sonnenfeld. He is the man who was at the Nuremberg trials in Germany. He was the interpreter because they're all speaking German languages, and he knew German and he knows how to talk different languages. So he was their interpreter there at the trial, and so this is talking about his story and his work working at the Nuremberg trials and all the things he saw and witnessed. And he was also in the service, and he was born in Germany. He lived in Germany, so this is a very interesting book so far. It's really interesting. I can't wait to see how good it gets. I'm only like 28 pages into it, so we'll see about that. And if you guys have read any of these books, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And the next book I have is Crystal Knocked by Martin Gilbert, Prelude to Destruction. I own this book for a while and I haven't read it, and I thought it looks really good, and I really missed my World War II and Holocaust books, so I'm reading the ones that I've had for a while that I haven't read. Here's what it says. On November 7th, 1938, a young Jew arranged by his family's explosion from Germany walked into the German embassy in Paris and fired 5 shots at a junior diplomat. 3 days later, the diplomat was dead, and Germany was in the grips of skillful orchestrated anti-Jewish violence. In the early hours of November 10th, Nazi stormtroopers and Hitler Youth rampaged through Jewish neighborhoods across Germany, leaving behind them a horrifying trail of terror and destruction. More than 1,000 synagogues and many thousands of Jewish shops were destroyed, while 30,000 Jews were rounded up and sent to concentration camps. This was the moment when deliberately inflamed hatred ignited nationwide destruction. With rare insight and acumen, Martin Gilbert, one of the leading historians of our time, examines Crystal Knocked, the Night of Broken Glass, and describes how the rest of the world reacted in its wake. His narration of that night and day of terror is chilling, vividly conveying its scale and intensity through more than 50 previous unpublished eyewitness testimonies and graphic newspaper accounts of the events as they unfold. No other attack on Jews during the course of the Second World War was widely reported by contemporary observers. Crystal Knocked marked the beginning of the systematic eradication of a people who traced their origins in Germany to Roman times, and was a sinister forewarning of the Holocaust. By setting the tone for the terrible war to follow, which set the second half of the 20th century and continues to haunt us almost 70 years later. Meticulously researched and masterfully written, this is an eye-opening study of one of the darkest chapters in human history. Sir Martin Gilbert is Winston Churchill's biographer and author of acclaimed books on the Holocaust. He lives in London. This book sounds incredible and amazing and sad, and I can't wait to read it. Next I have, which I've had this book since I watched the movie a couple years ago, and that is Alan Turing the Enigma, the book that inspired the film The Imitation Game by Angel Hodges. So this is about Alan Turing and how he helped crack the Enigma code during World War II. So let me read you what it says. Alan Turing was the mathematician whose cipher cracking transformed the Second World War. Taken on by British intelligence in 1938 as a shy young Cambridge Don, he combined brilliant logic with a flair for engineering. In 1940, his machines were breaking the Enigma and cipher messages of Nazi Germany's Air Force. He then headed the penetration of the super secure U-boat communications. But his vision was far beyond this achievement. Before the war, he had invented the concept of the universal machine, and in 1945 he turned into the first design for a digital computer. Turning's far-sighted plans for digital era forged ahead into a vision for artificial intelligence. However, in 1952, his homosexuality rendered him a criminal, and he was subjected to humiliating treatment in 1954. In 1954, aged 41, Alan Turing took his own life. So this is a very remarkable story, and I can't wait to read it. Next, I have My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman. This is a signed edition. I've been wanting to read this for a while. I was supposed to read it last month, so here I am going to try to read it this month again. It says, Elsa is 7 years old and different. Her grandmother is 77 years old and crazy. As in standing on the balcony, fire paintball guns at strangers crazy. She is also Elsa's best and only friend. At night, Elsa takes refuge in her grandmother's stories, in the land of almost awake in the kingdom of mamas, when everybody is different and nobody needs to be normal. When Elsa's grandmother dies and leaves behind the stories of letters apologizing to the people she had wronged, Elsa's great adventure begins. Her grandmother's instructions lead her to an apartment building full of misfits, monsters, attack dogs, and old crones, but also to the truth about fairy tales, kingdoms, and a grandmother like no other. My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry is told with the same comic accuracy and beating heart as Frederick Bachman's best-selling novel, A Man Called O. It is a story about life, death, and one of the most important human rights, the right to be different. So this book sounds amazing. If you guys have read it, please leave your comments down below. And the next book I have is The Great Escaper, a young POW in the audacious breakout of World War II by Louise Williams. And I've been wanting this book for a while. I was really interested in breakouts and reading books about concentration camps, and I watched some movies about it, so I was like, I need to read this. It says, John was among the 76 POWs who tunneled their way out of the supposedly escape-proof camp under the German noses in what later became famous as the Great Escape. John and former schoolmate Reg Rusty Kara, together with 2 other POWs, made it to Czechoslovakia and were captured by Gestapo. Hitler was so enraged by the Great Escape that he personally ordered the secret execution of 50 of the 73 captured men. In flagrant violation of the Geneva Convention, John, Rusty, and 2 other friends were driven by the Gestapo deep into the forest near the town of Most and shot. John was just 24 years old. Despite the later war crimes investigations into the Great Escape murders, no one was ever brought to justice for the murders of the Most 4. John's niece, Louise Williams, has pieced together his life from his upbringing in the Depression to the exploits in the air and missing details of the tragic escape. It is a powerful and intimate story of one of the most dramatic episodes of World War II. So this book sounds great and amazing. There was one other book I was supposed to read this month, but I cannot find it somewhere because I changed rooms and it's probably in a box somewhere. So I'm excited to read these books and to talk about them and to really delve deep and to enjoy them. Please let me know in the comments down below about the books you want to read. And if you read these books, I hope you guys like this video. And I'll see you guys next time in another one. Goodbye.